Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. For the returning subscribers, for the new subscribers, karibu sana, welcome. We love visitors. Today's video, I'll be seated in my house for a long time because guess what guys, I'll be braiding my hair. So this is my natural hair. I just blow dried and it's not really well done because I blow dried and then the dryer went off. I don't know why. Anyway, so yeah, I just destroyed my afro. So I'll be braiding for I know it will take long, and then I was like, let's have a chat. It's been a long time. I haven't had a sit down talk, and I feel like this is a good chance and opportunity for us to have a chat. And especially and to be specific, I'll be talking about living in the UK abroad, some of the culture shocks, things that I like about this country, and also things that I miss back home, and how that has shaped how I do things and how I reason as I'm navigating this life in London. On to our first point about first of all, why we are here braiding hair. When I if you see the previous, that was many years ago, I guess. I think I was 20, and when I was doing talk, braid and talk, and I remember I was braiding as well, and I was talking about how I was used to convert British pounds into Kenya shillings every time I'm doing shopping, and that used to make me feel like, what do you mean I am braiding for 10,000 Kenya shillings? You know, that would be like 3 months hair maintenance in Kenya. So I stopped that, and so what I do is just go with, just make a budget and say, just make a budget, and I'm like, okay, so if it's braiding, this is how it is, nothing will change. And first of all, by the way, you need to acknowledge that you're in the UK, you're not in Kenya. So I really needed to be in the present moment and tell myself that Valentine, you're in the UK and not in Kenya. So when you go to Rome, be like Romans, right? And then I realized that actually braiding can be a bit expensive, especially in London. And the type of braiding I want, if I want someone to braid me, I want them to do a very beautiful, and like, those beautiful braids and that type of lifestyle. I feel like I haven't gotten to that point now according to my budget, but also I can do it myself. I can do it myself, and because of that I want to learn new things. But with time, one thing I've realized is that I take long to braid. Like, for example, if I take, like, let's say almost a day to braid, that stops everything, because when I'm braiding, like now I'm doing YouTube, so I won't be able to do maybe like work, I won't read, I won't do so many things, I won't do volunteering activities, and that will make me like just stay indoors and just, well, it's good time to, like, just relax. But I kind of feel like with time I'm realizing how important time is, and because of that I feel like moving forward, not now though, but in future, moving forward, I will be paying for these services that take my time, so that I use that time to do something productive and something more meaningful, and something that will contribute to my skills, community development, and so many other things. So today's hairstyle is twist. I'll be making twist. Are you ready, guys? So as you can see, I bought these braids. So this is $5.99. all of this is $5.99. I'll be using these Toyokalon fibers, Afro natural Toyokalon fibers. I did a dissertation on synthetic hair. I am yet to find a shop or braids that are made of, say, of natural fibers like sisal and banana. I've been looking for them. So also this is a try on, because I have not tried Toyokalon fibers, so I'm gonna see whether it will gonna be friendly to my scalp, and whether it will be a good choice. So yeah, this is what we're gonna do for our hair. Braiding gel, and then I have a rubber band. What else do I have? I have these, and then I don't have a mousse though. It's like a full salon, so I am in a salon. And then I have these olive oil spray, but this one we spray after braiding. And then I have this hair growth oil. I think this does magic in my hair. It just makes my hair to grow, and it smells so good at the same time, and it also smells so good. So I'm gonna do some drying, so because my hair is frizzy, it just went back to normal. That is afro hair, guys. Yes, so guys, as you can see, this is my natural hair. I want to start from the back, which is the hardest thing. So I'm gonna put a mirror here, and then put the tripod this way so I can see myself, right? Yeah, I can. So this is how our braid looks like. Yeah, it's very light, and okay. So this is how it looks like. It's already partitioned, so I bought four packet just in case. And the color is, which color is this? It's color 99J. Is kind of maroonish but dark, so I think it's a good choice. Partitioning like that, right, like that, and like that. Is that too big? It's too small. I can just take big portions for now, but yeah. Oh my god, I don't know how to start. Anyway, I subscribe to this, so it has to work. Where's my jar? Use gel to hold, and then I just put this like that, and then I do twist like that, just a little bit to hold it, and then now I can twist it that way, like that. Oh. Oh, they're so neat. Wow. It feels very light as well. Wow. I think it's easier to twist than to braid, especially when the braid you're using is already partitioned. It just means you don't have the luxury to divide how you would want. No, that's my hair, but those are edges. Wow! Look at that! Oh, I'm excited. I can't I can't wait to see the final details. Oh my god. Okay, I need to cut this, but I know these are my edges and it should be fine even if I cut them. I just don't want. I think one culture shock that I am still in shock even today is the way people mind their own business, and how do I even put this one? It's like, I would say it's more of the social life, I would say. And I don't know why it feels that way. Is it because that is UK life, or is it because maybe I am not a social butterfly, or maybe like I am not very social? Maybe, could be, but this is what I mean. So in terms of social life, I kind of feel like here in the UK, people are very busy. Okay, even friends, they're very busy. They're not easily available, I would say. Does it have to do with growing up and adulting and the fact that we have responsibilities? I don't know. So let me know in the comment section whether it's a culture shock, it's just part of growing up. Because I'm still growing up. I'm like, wow. So it's just not easy to, like, plan this with friends. It's because like the patterns, maybe some of them are doing shifts which are very long hours, and then maybe you live far away, like it's not that easy to find, like, to meet your friends often. So most of it is online, you're just like chatting, or you have group text. You're like, hey guys, when are we meeting? Like on June. And then June I'll be going to Pakistan, or June I'll be going to Montenegro. And I'm like, okay, that is another misaligned opportunity. So that's how it feels here. Like when I was at home, I could, see my friend often. Kuna kuanga tu na form. Kuna kuanga tu na form. Form is like there's always something happening, yeah? And people show up. Something about Kenyans, they always show up. They will always show up. I think is the way, like, I don't know my neighbors, but the more I actually explain about these culture shocks, the more I feel like maybe it's a me problem that I don't know my neighbors. People just mind their own business. We don't check it out. And like Kenya, like I think also is the way houses are built in Kenya. So like, for example, when you're staying in the kwa plot, you have like, unajuanga tu maneighbor zako, unaweza omba chumvi huku. If you don't have chumvi, you just eat your food like that. Chumvi is salt. If you don't have salt, you just eat your food like that. More like everybody for himself and God for us. Or In terms of living alone, to be honest, this is something I would encourage young people to experience once in their lifetime. The patience, because you need to be patient with yourself when things are not going as you expect. The maturity, the independence, the degree that is required for you to keep going, especially in a foreign country while living alone. So in terms of living alone, like I said, obviously it can be lonely. So you just need to deal with that loneliness and try to find ways to work with it. So for me, what I do, especially now that I moved in London, I signed up for gym classes, and I signed up for gym membership, and now I go to gym classes. There are Zumba dances. I dance. Nowadays I dance real Zumba. And I go to Pilates, and also I do yoga, and I do body steps. Those are all activities that make me feel alive and whole. They make me feel like I am not alone. Then when I go to gym, you meet people. They're like, "Hi, Valentine, I didn't see you last week. Where are you?" Some of them will ask you where you are, and they're like, "Oh, I was just busy here and there." It's like, "Take care." And I don't know what that makes me feel. And then maybe you see someone new, you're like, "Hello, how are you? It's your first day here. Welcome." You will enjoy. Promise you're gonna love this. And it's just like you're creating that community. Like, there are people that know you, people, and that makes me feel so good. And then also doing things like church activities. So like going to church. Actually, our church, you are supposed to register when you join this new place, and then you'll be like, you give the emails, and then they'll know like you attend that church. I think it's good to like that they know there's someone. And then after church, there are youth activities, so I can join, and through that you get to interact with people, you get to learn about people. You listen to people's stories, you are inspired. Maybe if you're watching this video and in London, maybe you move to a city and you feel lonely, because I kind of feel like this goes with, it doesn't matter which country you are, it just has to maybe with this city and busy life. I've seen posters. Sometimes you look at public posters and they're like, there is Zumba classes going on, there are some poetry, there are some volunteering in the garden if you like garden. It's just stepping out of the comfort zone, getting to meet real people and talk to them and initiate those conversations and be part of a society. Feel that belonging of, we're in this earth, there are people, we are not robots, right? So that human interaction and that connection is really important, and I've really learned to embrace that in my solitude journey. And through this, you meet amazing people. You learn so many things, like Zumba. Now I know how to dance. With time now, I've actually changed my mind. I'm like, well, I don't mind doing Zumba to teach people. So I could look for Zumba classes, be good at it, and even teach other people. That is another hobby unlocked, and it can become a side hustle if you want, or maybe it could be something that you can volunteer to do and help others. Also, living alone has taught me things like, most of the times the things I do, the decisions that I make, are not influenced by anyone. Like they're not influenced by anyone, because by the time I make a decision, someone is just so far away. Like, my parents are so far away to see that. Also, obviously, I will have to ask them if something has to do with them. But obviously it's just like there's not a lot of that impulsive or that influence for maybe a community, or just like people maybe adding the insecurity or something that I want to do. I just decide to do my own things, and I feel like that gives me so much confidence and courage to keep going. And also it gives me that independence make my own decisions and be accountable for them. I need to be sober 100% because I have no one to go back to. I need to be sober to know where I put my keys, where I use my things, have I cooked, have I planned for myself. Basically, I feel like I am being a mom for myself, which is not the easiest thing, but it's also something that I am enjoying a lot. Oh, did I talk about finances? That's also something else. Because when you're living alone, things have to make sense financially, at least for me. I feel like here in the UK, I haven't seen people cooking like they used to, the way we cook at home. You know, when we're cooking, we take long hours in the kitchen. We cook, you know, that food you're like, yes, that, like ugali. I realize people here eat a lot of salad. Like, I've realized that in the office as well, and I am jumping to that trend as well. So I'm learning to be a salad girl, guys. Before I used to be like, why are we eating leaves? Why are we eating uncooked vegetables? But now I understand, you know, it's about health. It's about eating healthy, you know, quick things. Yeah, so I have realized that a lot. Back home, I kind of feel like the foods are kind of straightforward and you're used to these types of food, but then you come here and then obviously because it's an international city, so the restaurants have different cuisines, or there are different types of food, so it is what it is. But yeah, at least nowadays, you know, I go on solo dates, so I'm trying to learn different foods, and that makes me a bit confident sometimes when I go in a larger group and then they're like, okay, what do you order? But I want some quesadilla and tacos. Oh my god, that is like, you know, I never imagined I would be getting it right, but nowadays I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have that. Other culture shocks is just, you know, the queue. It's very British thing to queue, you know, but I think even in Kenya we do queue, but here in the UK it's like it's like very, you know, a British thing to queue. Even in public transport, it's like, you know, queuing for the Metropolitan line, you know, it's just, and it's so orderly. No one tells you to do that. You just have to follow the rules. You just need to read the room. That is how it looks like, right? And then another thing actually I like is the UK. People are like, I kind of feel like UK people are polite and kind. The thing, actually, I think it's a culture shock because in Kenya, I haven't seen it. And if it happens, it just happens very behind the scenes. Is like smoking culture. I think people do smoke a lot, but especially women. Like, you know, when I was in Kenya, like I've never seen a woman or a girl smoke, but I came here and one day we were standing, I think that was 2020, we were standing in the lecture, outside the lecture center, and a guy was like, hi, do you have a lighter? Like, what do you mean? A lighter? Sir? And they're like, do you smoke? I was like, no. So I was like, why are you assuming that I smoke and I am a girl? But then I realized that actually people just assume that you smoke. Another thing, alcohol, but I'm not very shocked because I come from Kenya, and you know, I pretty much grew in an environment that is very like watu wanakunywa and wanajisahau, so that is not news to me. Lately I've been seeing lots of people on the just in the morning or just like in the evening, they're in the train making noise because they are drunk. Another culture shock is the way, you know, it's just peaceful, especially for pedestrians. It's just peaceful to cross the road. The driver will stop at the red light and you pass the road with ease and no stress. If you compare it with back home, you will have to fight for your life. You'll be like left, right, left, right, left, right. Even in a zebra crossing. It's not right. It's not good. So I think that is definitely a culture shock. And what's sad about this, honestly, is the fact that people die. And accidents happen a lot. Like in Kenya this year, we've had lots of accidents already, right? And it's not even about like the zebra crossing, but the traffic things, people obeying the rules, and just reckless drivers. It's insane. It's just insane. And I think that is just has to do with the mentality and the culture of people. I kind of feel like the culture back home is more like the drivers are competing, like, where are we going? And just like that, people die and people lose life, which is not a good thing, because if there's something that can be done to control traffic and hold people accountable and people just being responsible, then that will reduce the chances of death, and it gives people chances to live. And I hope that we can do better and change for better, because change is inevitable. There's always room for improvement. Rules. And then also, did I talk about how hard it is to get a driving license here in the UK? And also, even booking a driving test is crazy. Like, it takes a long for you to book and get a driving driving test exam. That for me is like crazy, because in Kenya it's just so easy. It's just so easy to get yours and start driving. Yeah. Did I talk about weather? It's crazy. You know how to go about UK weather? If you come from tropical countries, carry an umbrella, always wear a coat. Come rain, come sunshine. Not unless maybe the weather is predicted to be 30 degrees. Just carry those things. Always. Always. Yes. Thank me later. That's what I do. I just have a long jacket and I always carry an umbrella. Even if the weather forecast say, oh, it's gonna be 15 degrees. Well, I just try to like dress, a bit comfy so that I am not sweating all over and I'm not dying of, heat and wearing lots of clothes. A bit bad, especially during winters is worse, because the sun sets at around 4 p.m. in the evening. So by the time you're coming to your home, you haven't seen any sun. So it's just, I think, kind of depressing time of the year during winters. But I also think they are my most productive seasons, because I am out. Like, the cold kind of stimulates me in a way, and it makes me get things done. I don't know how, but it just motivates me to get things done during winters. And with time, slowly wanting and liking the winter season. I don't know why. That has to be investigated, but I'm kind of liking the winter. The summer, sometimes the summer can be so much, so you just need to be drinking a lot of water and ice cream if you can. But the weather can be, as in the hot summer days can be so bad. Most of the time I have lots of headache, and I haven't experienced that in Kenya. Sometimes the sun can be scorching, not just shining. It's scorching sun in Kenya, but even 40 degrees, but it's still fine for me. But here in the UK, it comes with all the the heat waves and all the stress. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. And therefore I prefer cold than heat. Time is very important thing. Wakenya mko, because I'm telling you, Kenyans, if you're starting wedding at 3, to start at 5. Because in Kenya, you say something will start at 10 and somehow start at 12. I just don't know how, but it's just that at 12. Here, if it starts at 12, it's 12. and the meeting, if it's the meeting is 30 minutes, is 30 minutes. Like, time is very important. Okay, another thing, well, the public transport also is very structured, and but also tiring. Everything circles around, like, you plan around transport and commuting. It can be tiring, but I also like the fact that, when you're leaving some places, especially in London, there's that connection of trains, tubes, and buses, which is really good. But that means sometimes if you want convenience, you just be using buses and rails. You never realize how maybe at maybe short distances, to maybe instead of taking a bus, just walk maybe 20 minutes. So sometimes you can really forget about things like walking, and forgetting about the distances and where you live. So you need to be intentional, and especially when you're commuting. So you're like, well, like, train station is just 20 or 15 minutes walk, but there is also a bus stop outside your house. So sometimes you're like, do you want to take a bus or just walk? So for me, I was like, that's a trick, and through that I just walk. I am almost finishing my braids. They look so beautiful. Oh my god. And the color, I think I chose the right color. This is how long they are, and this is the, oh my god, where's the sun? I'm sun. Anyway, yeah, so I want to cover my head and then go run to the shop, and then I need to make something quick so that I can finish my braids, or if my friend will come and finish, but I don't want her to, be stressed. I want to be able to do it by myself. And then my house is also dirty, so I have lots to do. I need to clean. I also need to do some some work task that I haven't finished. But yeah, I just wanted to, obviously this video was about the culture shocks in the UK, where there are always so many culture shocks, obviously. But I think, that is what makes us, humans, because we are diverse. We come from different backgrounds with different cultures and way of living. Obviously when you go to Rome, you do according to Romans. But obviously if you have like some of the things that make you feel at home, like, for me, I like to shop and buy things like maybe rice and beans. I like rice and beans. So I cook rice and beans. I make chapati some days when I feel like I am missing home. I want to feel like I'm in touch with home, call home, to handle, the homesickness and all those things. But to be honest, Kenya and UK has its positive and negatives, obviously. So you just choose what you want to have, and what you wanna, what you would tolerate. For me, I would say, in Kenya, there's slow living. You have time to do things. You can catch up with people. There's always life. There's always kuna kwanga tuna maform. Here in the UK, however, especially with the weather, it's just, if you're not very careful and if you're not intentional, you'll be that person who just work and go home, work and go home, work and go home, and that might be not very good for your mental health. So the things, obviously here I am finding it more. I'm finding happiness here in the UK as well, like going to the gym and signing up to classes and trying new things. Then that makes life here. Then that makes life fun here. I like how systems work. I like how there's no corruption. Well, I don't know if it's there, don't get me wrong, but the way, in the car, maybe for example roads safety, and you don't have a police, you can give 50 bob. In Kenya is like, you have mistakes and you just give the police 50 bob, and then something happens, you cause problems to the whole generation, you know, like accidents. So I think some behaviors and culture, I think maybe we can do better. Here in the UK is more, you know, it rewards hard work. UK rewards hard work. UK rewards even survivors. Unaona wale watu wanapenda kusurvive, wakipata more opportunities unachukua haraka, utasurvive huku UK. Kama yani kama wewe ndo umind job yenye unafanya, like ukiona like do I make sense, you're like okay, acha ni clean, acha nifanye hivi, so long as inalipa bills, I think you can survive in this country. But yeah, I think in terms of opportunities for students, although sometimes it can be very difficult if you're an international student. Obviously there is that looking for jobs, rejections, and all those things. Yeah, those are the things that I've learned here in the UK, and I am so grateful that I'm able to experience this life, and it taught me to be strong. Yeah, I'm very short and small but very mighty.